So in the previous class, we had taken how to implement the WAM protocol. Yeah, let me start from the beginning itself. So in the previous classes, we had taken IoT physical servers and cloud offerings. In that one, we had taken all these points, right? I think till we had completed up to the Python, this one, Xively Cloud for IoT. Till here, I think we had completed. Right, we have taken WAMP for IoT based systems here, where we'll be using publish, subscribe, and remote procedure calls messaging patterns here. And later we have discussed about the WAMP concepts, right, where we are taking the client and routers and its functionality we had discussed in the previous classes here. And later we discussed about the WAMP protocol, right, how it will be establishing the protocol here for a WebSocket method. And we had discussed about the autobahn, right, how the client and server will be presented and how they will be communicating. We had taken here. And later we discussed about the commands for installing autobahn here, right, how to set up the autobahn and installing this autobahn we had taken in the previous class. I think this one is over, right? Is it over? Have we completed this installations? Till here we had completed, right? Xively Cloud for IoT. Today we are supposed to take this one, right? Python web
Yes,
application.
ma'am.
Yeah, Python web application framework. Today we will take it here, right? In today's session, we'll try to complete this chapter. And here, I think we'll be taking this one slowly because still we have plenty of time. I think your last working day is January 30th, right? We'll try to have this examples. We'll try to take it and take few live examples also for Python applications here. And after completing these chapters, I'll try to see if possible, I'll try to go for the Python programming method here, basic Python programming, how we'll be function, we'll try to use it, that one. We'll try to analyze that one after completing the syllabus, right? Now, coming to the next one, Python web application framework here. So in the previous classes, we had completed all these portions, right? How the Xively Cloud is used for programming the Python. And here, there is one program in the textbook, right? Python programming, to send the data on Xively Cloud. You can just have a glance on that one. So if time permits, we'll try to analyze these programs one after the other here. Later we'll try to analyze here. But now what we'll do is we'll try to go for implementing the Python here web application framework using Django protocol here. So how we'll try to use it here. So remember, this Django is nothing but it is an open source web application framework here, right? So Django is nothing but what? It is a web application framework where, right, it is a web application framework that is being used in Python itself here. And this application framework is nothing but it is a collection of the solutions, packages, best practices here where you can develop the web applications and websites here. So for that one, the framework used for IoT applications is nothing but the Django protocol here. So Django is nothing but what? It is an open source web application framework here where we will be using for developing the web applications in Python, right? We'll be developing web applications in Python here. And the web application framework, it is what? It is nothing but a general collection of solutions, packages, and it has the best practices here where we will be able to develop the web applications and dynamic websites here. Now, so the Django is based on what? It is based on what? Model template view architecture. So the architecture used in Django is nothing but it is a model template view architecture here where it provides, right, where it provides a separation between the data model and the business data model and the user interface here. So that separation can be obtained using this Django here. So here it is that it uses what? It uses model, template and view architecture. We'll try to take this one. So what is this architecture? What do you mean by model? What do you mean by template? And what do you mean by view? This type of architecture we'll try to discuss after this slide here, right? So Django is based on what? It is based on model, template and view architecture here. And it is the separation, right? It is a separation it is separation of model here from the business rules and the user interface. So that separation is being provided here. So here, if you want to build, right, if you want to build any of these IoT applications, right, if you want to build any of these IoT applications with backend Xively as a cloud, with the backend Xively as a cloud here, and other data collections here, you can use this web application framework, right? You can use this web application framework here and try to use this Xively cloud here. Excuse me. Now, coming to the next point here, it uses, right, the Django, it provides what? It provides a unified API. Yeah. So here, this Django, it provides an API, right? It provides an API here to the database backend itself. So this API, the API that is being provided is an unified here, and it provides a backend to the database itself here. There is a Xile cloud here. For that one, it will be used here. And also here, when you build this web application in this framework, right? So if you build this applications using Django here, then you can work that one, right? You can work this web applications on different databases here. So here you don't require only the Xively cloud for databases here. For any database clouds, you can run these web applications using this Django application framework here without any code changes, right? Without any code changes, you can work it here. Now, coming to the next one is we have very much flexibility when you implement this Django protocol here. So with this flexibility here, when it is combined with the Python language, then with the Python ecosystem, then it is best suited for all the cloud applications here. So if we use this Django open source web application framework with the Python programming, then you can build it this cloud applications here. So what we'll do is, we'll, after completing these chapters, we'll try to have some sessions on Python programming here. It will be best helpful for you, right? Now, coming to the next one is the Django protocol here, where it is an object relational. It is an object relational uh, mapper here, right? It is an object relational mapper. So where we'll be using this web templating systems here, regular expressions you will based on URL dispatches. So based on URL dispatches, you can make it functionable here, right? So I think this is how the Django will be used. We'll try to take one after the other here, right? So this is the importance, right? This is the importance of the Django protocol here. So where it consists of what? It consists of an object relational mapper, a templating system, and an URL dispatcher. So these components will be present in this in the Django framework itself. Yeah, we'll try to take it here. How it is been implemented for the Python programming, we'll try to analyze here, right? Coming to the architecture here, we will be having the framework. The Django protocol is having what? It is having a model template view framework itself. So this model template view framework for the Django architecture, how does it function? We'll try to take it here, right? So here, this is an open source, right? If you take this first here, that is the architecture here, will model template and view itself here. So this model, right, this model, it acts as what? It acts as a definition for the stored data, right? It acts as the model will act as a definition for the stored data here, and it will handle and it will handle the interactions with the database. So it will handle the interactions with the database here. So in the web applications, the data can be stored in an relational database here. So in this web application, the data can be stored here, and it is stored, right? It is stored where? In relational database, in non-relational database, or in an XML file here. So in that one, the data can be stored here. So the model, right? The model, it will act as a definition for storing the data here and to handle the interactions with the database. For that one, the model is required here. So where do we store this data here? The data can be stored in relational or non-relational databases here, or in an XML file also you can store it here. So if you take this Django model, right, the Django model in Python class here, it will outline, right, it will outline all the variables here and the methods used, right, method used for particular type of data, right. Python class here that outlines the variables and methods for particular type of data. The Django model is being used here. Now coming to the next one is the template here. So if you see the template here, right, the template, if you take in the Django application here, the template is nothing but it is an HTML page here, right. So it is an simply an HTML page here. So where you will be having some extra placeholders, right. For extra placeholders, so it will be present here. So this Django's template language here, it can be used to create, right, to create various forms of text files here. For that one you require this template here, like XML file, email file, Java, CSS and so on here. So in order to create the various forms of text files, the template will be present, which will be usually in the form of HTML page here. Now coming to the last one is the view here. So this view will be tying to the model of the template. It ties to the model of the template here. So the way the view is what? The view is where you write the code here and generate the web pages. So this will be the view here. The code and the generated web pages will be nothing but the view here. So where it will determine, right, the data that can be displayed here, and it retrieves the data from the databases and passes that one to the template. Right, it will passes that one to the template here. For that one it will be used. So it ties what? It will tie this model and template. In between this view will be present here. So it will combine that one. So what it will do? The view will write the code here and generate the web pages here, and that one will be displayed, right, and it will be retrieved from the data that is being stored in the database here, and it will send it to the view, to the template itself here. So this is the, right, this is the architecture, Django architecture here that is being present here, right. So it is a model template view. It had been analyzed here. Shall we go for next slide? Understood the concepts here, all of them? Shall we go for next slide? Kartika,
Yes,
Kavana,
ma'am.
Kruparth, Kushal Kumar.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. So this is about the architecture of this Django itself. Yeah, I've given few points. Right. Now let us go for how to start. Right. How do you want to develop these web applications using Django protocol? Right. So if you want to develop these web applications, I had listed out all the points. Right. How we can develop this Django protocol here. So if you want to start developing this web applications using Django protocol here, so we create, right, when we create a new Django project here, and once you create this new Django project here, right, then you have to go for this set of steps you want, you have to implement in order to develop the web applications here, right. So the commands, right, the commands used to create this web applications, right, to create this Django project and applications, we'll try to see it here, right. So here if the instructions are been not been given in detail, so I highlighted only the main points for your the slides itself here. So if you want to take still more points here, you can go for appendix C in the textbook. In that one it is being provided here all the detailed instructions. So if time permits, we will try to take that instructions and analyze all the programming functions one after the other here, right. We'll try to take it here, right. In the last chapters you can see how the code will be generated, everything, application code, services code, everything you can try to have it here, right. So everything is been provided in the textbook itself. You can just have the in appendix C, right, where in appendix C you're having all the points, right, all the points, how it is been developed, it is the code, everything is been provided to you. You can just have a glance for that one, right. You can have a glance later, you can set up that one. But for time being in this chapter, what we'll do is we'll try to take only the steps. So what are the steps used to develop this Django protocol here, right. So here if you see this one in this section, you will be having how to start this developing web applications. We'll try to see it here. So the first point we can yes, just I'll write one more point for you all. Creating Django project and app. So how to create this Django project and app? We will try to see it here, right? Yeah. So here, in order to develop this web applications using Django, we'll try to first do is what? We'll try to create the Django project and application itself here. So what are the steps required to create this Django project and applications? We'll try to see one after the other here. So when a new Django project is created here, the number of files created are what? Let us see. 1 second. Yeah. So here now, if in order to create this Django project and applications here, the first thing what you have to do is we create this first project here, and once you create this Django project here, then what are the number of files that you have to create is given as follows here. So first you create this project, right? Once you create this project here, the number of files created are as follows here. First one is int file, second one is manage file here, settings and urls file. So these are the four files that has to be created for a project here. So what are the functionalities of these four files here is, the first file what it do is it will tell the Python that this folder is a Python package, right? So in order to create the first package, Python package, this int file has to be created here. The next one is what? Manage file. In you'll be having array of functions in this file here, so where you can manage the site, right? And next is the settings file here, where it will contain the website settings. And last one is the URL here, where it contains the URL patterns here, so that you can map the URL to the pages here. So like this, you have to first create the project, and once you create the project here, you have to add this number of files for the created Django project here. And here remember, when you create this one, you'll be having multiple applications. So there is not be only one applications here, you'll be having multiple applications here, and these applications where you write the code, it will make your website functionable. So the each project, right, each project which you create will be having multiple applications here, and each application will be part of the multiple project itself here. So you will be having many applications here, and you have to write the code for that website functions, right? You have to create the code here and make your website functions itself. So these are the codes. We'll try to take it the next thing here is. So when a new application is created, right, when you create this new applications here, then automatically a new directory for application is also created here. So when a new application is created here, a new directory for that applications will be also be created here, and that directory, right, that directory will be having these files here. So what are the files that will be included for this new directory? The first one is model.py, and second one is uvu.py here. So this model.py, it contains what? It contains the description of the models, right? It contains the description of the models for the application, and it contains the application views. right? It contains the description of the model, that is model.py, and the application views can be seen in view here. So this is the two files you have to create once you create a new directory itself here, right? So we'll go for the next one here is, right, how we create, right, how do we create the project here, and how do we create an application here. So this is the code. This is the code here. So I had given the code steps here, creating a new Django project here. So first thing is you have to create the new project using uh, this command here, Django admin.py start project blog project itself here. So this is the first step. I think this functionality is not to view, right? I'll just change that one. There you go. Yeah, this is better. So I think this is better, right? These are the steps here, right? These are the steps used to execute or create the Django project here. So if you want to create a new project, what you have to do, you have to give the command, right? We give the command as Django admin.py start project block project itself here. So this is the command used to create a new project here. And later, if you want to create an application within the project here, this is the second command here, right? So that is python manage.py start application my application here. So this is the command used to create a new project, and this one is used to create the application here. Next, you have to start what? You have to start one development server here. So where, and remember, whenever you give this hash sign, it is nothing but a comment here, right? And these are the steps. So my python manage.py run server. So start the development server here. So once you execute this one, then automatically what happens? Then these are the steps that will be taking place here, right? So what happens? It uses the port 8000 by default, and the project will be viewed at the URL, right? So what is the URL here? This is the URL here. HTTP localhost colon 8000. In that one, you will be able to see the project here. So like this it will be seen, right? This is the default project how we are created. Once you run these commands, then you will be getting this page here, right? See here, where you'll be seeing at the local host, right? So congratulations, this is the default image screenshot will be appearing on the screen here, that you have created one, the Django project itself here. But here what happens, this will not be functioning until you set up the databases here. So once you set up the databases, then you will be able to run that one here, right? So you'll be setting this databases by debugging itself, and you are supposed to configure the, so you can create the project. This is the first step to create the Django project here. So these are the commands, and this is the screenshot how it will appear on the uh, uh, once you create this one, right? Now let us go for the next slide here. So this is the first step where you have created the Django project here. Now the second step you have to do here is you have to configure the databases here, right? You have to configure the databases here. So for this new created Django project here, an application and Django project what you have created here, you require the database backend for that one here. So these applications will be having, all the applications which are created using Django framework will be having the database backend here, and we will be having much choice, right? We'll be having much choice here, right? Most of the publications will be having this data in here, and we'll be having much choice for that one, right? Much choice which you can include itself here. Now what are the choices of the databases that can be used here? That can be either relational or non-relational database here. So you'll be having wide choice of databases which can be either relational or non-relational databases itself here. So Django is, right, the Django is an unified API here for database backends here, which gives us the freedom to choose the database. So any database you can choose, but if you use this Django protocol, then it is a unified API here, which is very much useful for any type of databases backend here. Now what are the databases it will be supporting? It supports the relational database engines like MySQL, Oracle, SQLite, PostgreSQL here. So these are the databases it will be supporting here, right? It will be supporting here, and few non-relational database like MongoDB, it is been added to the as an additional engine here. So these are the non-relational databases, and these are the relational databases that will be supporting for the Django protocol here, right? Now let us see how we will be able to set up this database, right? How we will be able to set up these databases to the Django protocol here. So what we'll do is, for our example, we'll take this MySQL, right? MySQL database here, and set up this MySQL database here with the Django project here. So that one we'll try to take in the next session, next slide here. Now, so in this slide you can see, right, we'll be having commands to set up the MySQL here. So this is the first one, right? You have to install a MySQL and use sudo Linux based commands here. So in the I think in ARM9, right? In ARM9 you will be using these two commands here, sudo commands here. So where you will be getting this application sudo get install MySQL server and MySQL client here. So you will be installing this MySQL server and client. So these are the commands used itself here, and you will be routing to your local host where the password is taken as what? My password itself here. So here, so these are the installation steps used to set up the MySQL database here. Now, once you have set up this MySQL database here, the next thing what you have to do is you have to configure that one for Django settings itself here. So these are the databases here. Default, the engine name you have to give it as a Django, right? And give the database name here. User is given as the root here. Password is my password here. These are the host here, and this is the port here. So this host and port is used to empty for local host, and for the default port here, for that one we'll be using. So these are the default databases you have to set up here, right? So these are the set of the commands used here for Django settings here, right? So where you are using what? You are using MySQL as a backend for the Django settings here, right? So this is the next command here. So this is used for what? It is used for configuring MySQL with Django settings here, right? Now, coming to the next slide here, what we are doing in the next slide, we are setting up what? We are setting an additional, right? Additional non-relational database here, that is MongoDB, right? MongoDB here, how to set up this non-relational. So the previous one is what? This one is for the relational database. So how do you set up the relational database? For that one we are taking as the MySQL as the example here. Now we are taking the next non-relational database here, that is MongoDB here. So how do you set up this MongoDB with the Django protocol? We'll try to see it. This is second example here, right? So here we'll be using this here. These are the commands used here, right? First you have to install this MongoDB here using sudo apt-get server, right? And then you have to send this one, right? You have to send this link to set up itself here, right? Update and then install here. So once you install here, then you have to set up, right? You have to set up this Django MongoDB engine itself here. So install the link that is being provided here, right? So these are the three commands used here. So where you are giving the URL itself here, and you are installing this engine. So this is the installation steps for MongoDB engine here, and these are used for the key servers here, right? So where you want to install the MongoDB 10th generation here, right? Once this is completed, the next thing is you have to set up this MongoDB with the Django protocol here. So see here, right? So this is the changes here, right? The Django MongoDB engine. So this is the engine you have chosen. In the previous slide for MySQL, you have chosen which engine here. The backend is MySQL here, right? And what is the name here? The name will be same here. You are using the host and port as MongoDB itself here, so that these ports will be assigned for the databases here, right? So this is the step used here for MongoDB with Django.py here, right? Understood all of them? Yes, understood. All of them understood how what are the steps required in order to set up this MySQL database here? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Atmaja, Anaga,
Yes, ma'am.
Bhumika, Chandana, are you all online? You have to be online. This is not the way of attending the classes, right? Now, so this is the steps used for setting up the MongoDB protocol here. Now, coming to the next one is model here, right? So we had taken the model view and template here for Django model. We'll try to take one after the other itself here, right? So how do you define this model here, right? For a Django protocol here. So what are the commands used? We'll try to see it here. So model is nothing but what? It is the definition for the data in the database here. So what we'll do is we'll try to consider for this in order to understand this one in detail, we'll try to take one example here with the help of what? With the help of weather station applications. So where it will display, right? Where it will display what? It will display the temperature data here that is collected by an IoT device. So we'll take one example for that one here, how we can take it for the Django protocol. We'll try to take it here, right? So here we'll be taking this temperature data, right? We'll be taking this temperature data. So you can see this class here, temperature data here. So this temperature data table here, it is a database, right? Which is defined in the class what? In the class of this Django model, right? In this Django model, we'll try to take this temperature table as the database itself here, right? So each class, right? Each class that has been created itself here. So it is be it will represent the database in the subclass as Django.db models itself here, right? So that will be the subclass here. So this subclass, each class that is being represented here, it will be the subclass of this models itself, right? So here the model, right? The model that is being created here, the model that is been created here, it contains all the functionalities here where it will allow the models to interact with the database, right? It will, how it will interact with the database that will be used here, right? And here we'll be having this temperature data class here where we'll be having the fields like what we'll be having these fields here like a timestamp will be there, right? And there is there and lat. So these are been used here. So all these are nothing but the character fields, right? These are nothing but the character fields here. So the maximum length is also defined for that one here, right? So this is the time step here, temperature, lat and lon, right? So these are nothing but these are the classes here that is been these are the fields used in this class temperature data here, right? So now if you want to sync this model, right, sync this model here and you, with the database, if you want to sync it here and if you want to sync that one, then you have to run the command here which is known as python manage.py sync db here. So if you run this command, then automatically you can sync the models with the database itself here and you can execute that one here, right? So here it will also create, right? It will when you use this sync db command, right? You can see this sync db command here. So when you run this one for the first time, what happens? It will create all the tables, right? It will create all the tables for the Django model in the configured database. So for the first time, it will create it here, and that will be stored in the database itself here, right? So this is the command used here, right? This is the command here, and this is the example for the database itself here, right? I think you understood, hope so you understood few of the commands here, and we'll can try to have few sessions. This is the for implementation of this example for this Django model here. Now, coming to the next one is Django admin site here, right? We'll complete up until today's session for this admin site here. In the next class, we'll go for the view site itself, right? Now, coming to this admin site here, right? What it will do is the admin site will provide you what? It will provide the administration system here where you'll be able to manage the website, right? Where you'll be able to manage the website without writing additional code here. For that one, this administration site is being used here. So what this admin will do here is the admin system will read this model, that is the Django model here, and it will interface with interface that can be used to add the content to the site here, right? So it will read the Django model here and it provides an interface here that can be used to add the content to the site. For that one, you'll be using this admin itself here, right? So if you want to enable this admin site here, then you have to add this one. So what is this one? That is Django contribute.admin and Django contribute admin docs to the installed app section. If you add it here in the settings.py file, then you can enable that one. You can enable this Django admin site here. So enabling that one, right? If you want to enable this in this method, right? In this method, you can enable it, enable the Django admin site itself here. And also, if you want, you can also enable that one using URL patterns also here by going to where? By going to url.py file here. There you can go and define the URL patterns also. So that is also possible here. So here, this definition, right? When you create your admission application models here, and if you want to edit that one, so you have to define that one and edit that one. So edit that in the admin interface. So in that admin interface you can edit it itself here, right? So here let us take this one, how we create this application folder. We'll try to see here. So this is the commands, right? The enabling admin for Django models. How do you enable that one? These are the commands used here, right? So you can use import the admin, right, and import the temperature data here, and you can register that admin site itself. That is the temperature data for that one here. So using these commands, you can enable the admin for the Django models itself here, right? So here, this is a interface, right? You can see this is a screenshot for Django admin interface. You can see it here, right? Home, my apps, temperature data is here, right? You can see the timestamp for that one, temperature, lat and lon, you can see, right? So this is the added the temperature data. This is a screenshot for interface, admin interface here, and adding the data, right? Adding the data to the table from this Django admin interface, it has been shown here, right? So you'll be having the site administration, groups, users, temperature data and sites here. So where you can add it, right? You can add that one or change that one. So these can be added here, right? This can be added. Temperature data can be added here. For the temperature data can be added to this to the data table itself using this Django admin site here, right? Till here, we'll take it. We'll stop in today's session. In the next class, we'll go for the view itself.